Television. Watch it for all you're worth.
On Media Monday. Well, the media business is not like all other businesses. People come to it with a different perspective and from a different direction somehow. They're a different breed of cat from time to time in this business as opposed to, say, oil and gas. Our next guest walks both sides of the streets. He has a business background, but also an acting background with a foot on each camp. Let's meet Lindsay Merrithew, who is the CEO of Merrithew Corporation and artistic director of a small theater company. Nice to meet you, Lindsay.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Well, I know your main business is exercise equipment.
That's right.
Pilates exercise equipment. And Pilates equipment is not for the muscle-bound sort. It's for... I mean, it was developed, I think, in the 20s for injured dancers.
That's right, that's right.
So is that where your theatrical and your business world crossed?
Well, in some ways, yes. I got involved, actually. My wife was a professional dancer, I an actor. We sort of somewhat stumbled into this business. I mean, we didn't set out to
with
create a...
joints,
yes,
and a sore back.
Well, you know, it's one of those things that sometimes just has its way with you. We started out, I guess, about 10 or 12 years ago in a one-bedroom apartment, and have grown our business.
Doing instruction, giving Pilates
Well,
instruction?
my wife, yes, it started out as just simply giving instruction to other people.
Yeah.
And then we got involved in manufacturing the equipment about 4 or 5 years later.
Well, that's a big jump.
Yeah, that's actually when our business really started to take off. And now,
well, that wasn't your acting experience that enabled you to build up a manufacturing operation.
No, I mean, I have a business degree from Dalhousie as well. I went to Juilliard after my business degree.
It's probably the order to go in.
I think so. It seems to have helped both ways, actually.
Otherwise, you never escape. Yeah. Well, but go back on sure. Pilates, because I'm not knowledgeable in this at all. But sure. You read about it in the newspapers. It's sort of a Hollywood exercise craze at the moment, and I hope you sell lots of equipment to them. But,
sure.
But that's not where it came from.
No, I mean, the method of exercise essentially was devised by a gentleman by the name of Joseph Pilates. And he spent much of his time working with the professional dance community. Mm-hmm. And that's how it's really been kept alive, is actually in the professional dance community. It hasn't really been until the last 4 to 5 years that it's hit more mainstream. You know, a lot of the Hollywood celebrities have taken hold and have found good results and have been out there proselytizing the good word.
But like all these things, after a while, it's just a name. I don't know sure. if Joseph Pilates left a volume that you adhere to rigorously.
Actually, you know, that was one of the largest challenges, is that he surely didn't. Yeah. And what has happened is that there have been, you know, many people out there that have actually taken the origin of his work and changed it somewhat. And in most cases, I think to the credit of the method of exercise. Mm-hmm. It's like all good things, you know. I mean, they have to change, they have to evolve. Yeah. And what we did is we actually took what was an old method of exercise, dusted off, you know, some of the cobwebs, and brought it into the 21st century, both with the equipment and also the training of instructors. We have 18 licensed training facilities throughout North America now, and we actually export into about 60 different countries. So it's turned into a fairly sizable business from a quite a humble start.
Sounds like it has. Yes. Now, when you develop equipment for this manner of training, I mean, then you're really locked into something. Did he begin with custom designed equiment or not?
Well, I mean, I think because of the economies of scales, I mean, he was dealing with, you know, maybe a half dozen people that he was dealing with, and it was never really a large method of exercise or well-known method of exercise until the last 4 to 5 years, really.
But it wasn't equipment intensive in the 20s?
No, actually it wasn't. It was all mat-based work, and then the equipment did come later. He had worked with many of the professional dancers just doing floor routines, and it wasn't until much later that different pieces of equipment got involved with the conditioning technique. So
when you began selling instruction,
yeah.
when you expanded the business, as your wont, did you expand the instruction side? I mean, through video or books or all that sort of thing first, or did you think for business reasons that equipment was the way to go?
Well, you know, we started with the expansion really came as a result of the equipment, but we soon realized that the engine really was the training, because without the training, you really don't have any need for the equipment, and that's proved to be really one of the fuels to our business, is that we've created a very sound training program where we have, as I said, a number of licensed training facilities that are teaching people to go out into a health club environment or a rehab center to actually take this information and convey it to, whether it be people that are looking to rehabilitate or people that are looking just to find a good conditioning method.
Oh, yeah.
So that has always been sort of our channel of distribution, is through the training. So that's always been something that we've emphasized.
Back to your business school days, I mean, I haven't seen a great deal of marketing and promotion and advertising for this. Does Pilates sell itself because of the cachet it has with dancers and actors?
I think it has, but I mean, I think that it's not only that it just works. I think that's kind of simple. I mean, I think there has been a significant amount of media exposure. And that's definitely helped.
For sure.
But I mean, I think that now we will find a lot more competition. I mean, we're a small company that's grown quickly without a tremendous amount of competition, but competition is becoming more and more prevalent as we you know, increase the size of the business pie, if you will. You know, there's a number of people out there looking at this as a huge business opportunity. Many people think this is the wave of exercise and fitness for the next, you know, 10 years potentially. We are getting a little older and we are living longer, and so we want to stay fit longer. And this really has been able to challenge many people, their levels of fitness, without putting an awful lot of stress and strain on their joints. So it's really ideal for an aging population.
It probably is.
Yeah.
Now, but it is a growing business, which you co-founded and managed, and it's a very competitive field. And when, you know, the exercise centers realize the popularity of Pilates, they're all going to come running at you. Do you jeopardize this business by taking your eye off the ball to pursue your theatrical interests?
Sometimes I think about that, but I'd like to also think of it as being somewhat of a rejuvenation of my business interests. You know, I mean, some people take vacations. I just so happened to start a small theater company, and it's been, you know, exceptionally rewarding in that sense. But it's also very nice to get back into my core business.
Does this limit your ambitions in your core business?
Absolutely not.
No.
I think it's fueled them, to tell you the truth. I think it's just given me some time to think about other things. I think that's one thing about business. You get so focused and you can't see the forest for the trees. So, I mean, there's lots of great analogies, one being, you know, let's work on your business opposed to in your business. Well, sometimes you have to actually come back a little way and sort of see, you know, those trees, and then you can see them much clearer. So it's given me an awful lot more focus.
But business takes intense focus, you know, 110% of effort and activity and time on growing the business itself. Maybe you don't want to grow it that badly.
I don't know. I don't think I would say that. Actually, one of the things that I've found, you know, starting a business from the very beginning is delegation has been very, very important. And that's been a struggle, you know, and in many ways, this has been a really good exercise in delegation. I mean, I've hired, I believe, great people, and, you know, you have to allow them to do their job, and sometimes you do have to pull back. And so I surely don't think by taking this opportunity or taking the theater company and you know, helping it out is in any way detracted from my own personal energy or the direction of the business. I think it's allowed maybe some people that have been working for us over these years to actually, you know, focus in on the business and to continue to grow it in much in the same way as I would.
Yeah, sometimes it does work out that way, especially for a private company like that. Sometimes the founders can be pretty domineering and dictatorial.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you know, those are the good things, and also can be some of the bad things, you know. But I'm actually as excited about getting back to, you know, growing our business, so there's no concerns there. Okay, well, you're getting back to it because you just mounted a production of Macbeth. That's right.
In Toronto.
Yes.
A fairly experimental one.
Yes.
Tell me the origins of this, why you wanted to do Macbeth and why you brought it to Toronto.
Well, it wasn't so much that I wanted to do Macbeth. I mean, it's a huge play. It's a challenge, no question. But most of the Shakespearean works are challenging. I think that I had last summer spent a while working with a small theater company in Halifax, and they had
away from the business.
Away from the business
Yes.
for a little while. I know you're getting on to me about being away from the business. I say they're my holidays, but you know, it was I think it was a good, healthy experience, and I thought that it warranted some investment of more of my time, and so I decided to lend some support to this, and that's what I've done, and I'm happy that I have.
Did it require investment of your money as well as your time?
Well, I mean, I think maybe more so in spirit than cold hard cash, but that's also got a value to it. There's no question. I was very happy to have many of our staff support their time, donate their time, I should say, to the effort. Some of my employees.
Well, as a CEO of the company, maybe it's only appropriate then in this play of Shakespeare about the corruption of power.
Yes.
You even cast yourself as Macbeth.
Well, you know, I think that, I mean, I have a strong theatrical background, and there's no question that this particular play is about corruption and power. But you know, you always have to sort of tantalize yourself with those sorts of
yes, the privately held Macbeth business.
Well, yeah.
Well, let's see Lindsay as Macbeth.
Present him eminence both with eye and tongue. Unsafe the while that we must lave our honors in these flattering streams and make our faces vizards to what they are, disguising what they are.
You must leave this.
Oh, full of scorpions is my mind, dear wife. Thou knowest that Banquo and his Fleance lives.
And in them nature's copies not a turn.
There's comfort yet, they are assailable. Then be thou jocund, ere the bat hath flown his cloistered flight, ere to black Hecate summons the shard-born beetle with his drowsy hums, there shall be done a deed of dreadful note.
Holy jumping. A scary-looking guy.
Lady Macbeth seemed particularly young.
Yes,
That's
yes.
an interesting way to do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, she was the right one for the play. Yeah.
Okay, now you go from a profit-oriented business, and
Sure.
it has to be, to a theater company. It's pretty hard to imagine them as profit-oriented.
Well, they by nature they're not, and this one was set up as a non-profit organization.
Oh, I see.
So it was not. It's not intended to make money, but I mean, that's a balancing act, and it's a struggle. Theaters have for centuries been living off the kindness of others, and I don't know if that will change. Of course, there's commercial theater, which is run a little, considerably different, but this was not, and I guess there's an argument as to whether it should be. I, in this particular case, don't feel that a for-profit Shakespeare company would work.
No, probably not. What can you bring from your business experience into that sector?
I'd like to think that it's, in the business world, we are so bottom line oriented, there's no question. Yeah. And in the theater world in particular, there probably isn't as much emphasis. You're dealing with people that are not as concerned about those sorts of issues, which may or may not prove to be a problem.
Oh, that's true.
But I mean, I think
the arts, they can do so much for $1 that a business would require 50 for.
You're absolutely right. No, you're right. Your dollar, your dollar will go a lot farther.
Sacrifice.
Sure, sure. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of heart and soul in the theater, and I think it's very healthy. And I think the relationship between business and theater is an important one, and it has been throughout the years, and I hope it will continue.
Now, I mean, you need success in the business to continue it. In Macbeth, you mounted it, and the timing was
Sure.
awful given the terrorist attacks, but also the reviews were pretty brutal. How does that affect you?
Well, I mean, some of them were brutal, and some of them were not so brutal. But I mean, I think you have to take your knocks.
Yeah.
I think that I think it was my father that said, "It's not how many times you fall down; it's how many times you get up." And I'm going to take that word of advice and carry it forward. So.
Yeah. Oh, well, the theater will keep you humble.
Well, I think humility. Well, humility, I think, in itself is important, not only in the theater world, but I think in business. If people keep their humility, I think that's an important important trait to have.
Well, it's an interesting story, and just as multi-dimensional as I said it was going to be. Lindsay Merrithew, pleasure meeting you.
Thank you very much. Pleasure being
coming
here.
on the show.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Media Monday, we're going to continue after this, and this is a media story about tattoos. See where it leads.